What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a episode of it was Sports Illustrated podcast, and it had Rachel Nichols on there. And Rachel Nichols, they were talking about LeBron James playing in the All-Star game. Also, they brought up the topic of LeBron James' retirement. Like, do you think that LeBron James want a retirement, a tour, right? And to me, it's just obvious from his actions and the way he's conducting himself throughout the season that, number one, I think he's going to try to play again next year, even if it's not with the Lakers. Number two, I think that LeBron James is not really interested in a retirement tour. I think that LeBron James wants to play as long as possible, no matter how much his presence on the court may disrupt the chemistry or how it might hurt the team. I think he's just selfish enough to want to play like that, right? And I think the reason for that is LeBron James, he don't feel like he can retire because all of his leverage is connected to LeBron James playing and being in the league. And he don't want to give that leverage up. If you notice like how many players are really speaking out against LeBron James, just saying, especially when it comes to that GOAT debate, people are speaking out. Then you have people bringing up like the performance enhancement situation that he may be connected to. So it's a lot of conversation around LeBron James, not all of it positive. And so the only way LeBron James can really combat that is to use his leverage that he has being the face of the NBA. Once he leaves the NBA and he's no longer the face of the NBA, just imagine like all the pushback LeBron James is getting now, like that is going to probably at least double. People really going to be coming out the woodwork because now he's not connected to the NBA. And the NBA, is going to shield him a little bit from that because they don't want one of theirs, the face of their league taking too much flack. But right now, people just pushing back on some of the narratives that he's putting out there. But once he's away from the NBA won't and can't really protect him, because he won't have that same leverage. So with that being said, man, let me go to what Rachel Nichols was saying about LeBron James' All-Star appearance and potential of him having the a retirement tour, which, like I said, I don't think he can.
I want to get your reaction to something we saw earlier in the day, and that was the All-Star voting. Fan vote first coming out. And there were the usual suspects at the top, Luka Doncic, Giannis, but notably, one LeBron James was down at the bottom of the top 10. I think he was 8th in Western Conference, 7th or 8th in that range, which, leads to the broader question of will LeBron make the All-Star team? I've been pretty adamant for the last week that he wasn't going to make it.
You've been ahead on this.
I anticipate the All-Star voting to be better for him, but I thought the player vote or the player vote and the media vote would not be good for him. But if he winds up finishing 7, 8, 9 in fan voting, that really probably eliminates him from being a starter. And I think it's a stretch to say the coaches are going to take him on the team. What did you think when you saw those first returns on the All-Star ballot?
Well, I wasn't shocked, right? Because
now I think the fan vote might go in his favor. The player vote I don't think will go in his favor, or the media vote I think will probably go in his favor. With him being 23 years into the league, I think, I wouldn't have a problem with LeBron James starting. But yeah, I think it's 50-50 on the fan vote, because I think a lot of fans, especially Laker fans, I think Laker fans are really, basketball fans in general, not just Laker fans, I think they really tired of, or they really over LeBron James, right? But let me get back to some more of what Rachel Nichols had to say about LeBron James and what she thinks.
We were talking about it last week, and I think the fans generally are voting in the right direction. If you look at who's the top of those lists, they get 50% of the vote. The media gets 25% of the vote. The players get 25% of the vote. But the fan vote's a good indicator, right, on where things are going. I think you've been right when you say the coaches are less likely to put him on the reserves. Just the coaches tend to really reward like insider basketball picks more than they do names. I do think, though, whether it's the coaches or eventually Adam Silver, and we'll get to that in a minute, I think, and the players too, there's an appreciation of LeBron that sometimes the media and fans are so quick to jump into analysis of him and how he's playing. I think there's a lot of players in the league who still, really think, man, what that guy is doing is incredible and nobody else really appreciates enough. I think coaches still have to game plan.
She lying. If you are a player and just from a competitive standpoint, if you're not looking at LeBron James and saying, wow, I really appreciate what what he's doing for the league and how he's playing 23 years in, right? Guys, when you watch guys play against him, they trying to strip him, they blocking his shot. They're playing against him like they're challenging him, right? Like what they should be. So I don't know why, maybe that's how she honestly feels. But I think as a competitor, even with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird, by the time they get to up in age, like these young guys who want to go at him and they want to destroy him. Guys who are probably about a few years behind him, like 4, 5, 6 years behind him, or even guys who are just hitting the league. You don't get there and you be in awe of, if you are in awe of him to a certain extent, but you want to destroy him when you go against him. And you see LeBron James, that's what these young guys are doing on the court. So I have to disagree with Rachel Nichols on that point.
And against him, and we'll take that in mind. So it's possible things will shift a little there. And then the real thing that could shift it is this new format, which is USA versus the world. And the idea is to have 8 players from the world and 16 players from the USA. However, they're not voting that way. The voting is still Eastern Conference, Western Conference. And the reason for that is, as I always say, team ownership in the East wants an all-star on their team that they can sell tickets for on the back end of the season. So there will always be East-West voting, no matter what format we have. But once you have those East-West pool in and you stick them back all together into one pool, if there aren't 8 international players or if there aren't quite 16 American players, Adam Silver is the one who appoints the final American players, let's say in this case with LeBron. And I would not be surprised if Adam Silver.
All right. So when it comes to international players versus NBA players, I think everybody who plays for the NBA, it should stay East-West, right? Only time I think you should break it down to international versus USA is if you playing in the Olympics, but everybody who's in the NBA is a NBA ball player. That's number one. Number two, most of the best players in the NBA these days are not even US born. You got the Joker, you got Luka, you got the kid Shea Gilgeous, right? You got Giannis. I don't even think Joel Embiid is American born, right? So when you talk about when you do it like that, like the best players are now, you got a lot of talent coming from all over the world. So I like when you break it down the East versus the West, and the best players from the East and the West, no matter what country they come from, just leave it like that. Once you go to playing in the Olympics or those international type games, then you break it down in between, from country and nations and stuff like that. But other than that, man, NBA I think should stay away from that, because you kind of create more division within the, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea.
To LeBron. He's played in 21, he hasn't played in 21. He's been appointed to 21, voted into 21 All-Star games. He didn't play last year, and he started in 20 of them, or voted as a starter in 20 of them. And I don't know, one of the reasons I thought this was a big deal when you brought it up last week is, does he use that weekend to announced that he's wrapping up after this season.
That would be
Hold on, let me before they get into the retirement tour talk, right? LeBron James didn't play last year, right? And so he waited until the last second in order to notify the league that he wasn't playing in the All-Star game. Do you think they're going to hold that against him this year? You know, like he plays when a situation like, all right, I want to play this year. He plays when he want to play, or do the league? You think the league is going to be out for some revenge, man? I didn't even think about that part of it.
interesting. And you've been on that for at least a week now, probably longer. My question with that is, like, if LeBron doesn't make it through traditional methods,
Sure.
would he want that appointment? Remember, he didn't play in the game last year, chalked it up to injuries, what have you. Do you think that he would want a last minute appointment by the commissioner, or would someone like him say, I don't need it?
I want to go to Cabo, which is what I believe what he did last year.
Somewhere and do my thing.
Right.
What do you think? You've covered him a long time. Do you think he would want that appointment?
I think it really depends on where his head is at in terms of how much longer he's going to play. I think it's pretty clear that the Lakers, no matter what happens at the end of the season, no matter how far they get, unless I guess they win the title, which is not the most likely outcome.
Not with that defense.
I just don't see him in their plans for past this summer. They didn't offer him an extension. They're going to have to give more money to Austin Reeves. They're going to have to beef up the defense. So I just don't think they want to sign a 41-year-old for another year or two. Faced with that, does he accept that? And I think it is very hard for someone who is as elite as LeBron to accept, I've gotten to the point where they don't want me anymore. That's just never even, it hasn't happened.
See, all right, she's saying he elite, but the team don't want, if he was elite, the team would still want him, because if he was elite, he could help the team win. So she's kind of, in my opinion, she's contradicting herself. He's not elite anymore, you know, and so that's why the Lakers, he's not elite on the defensive end or the offensive end, and so that's why the Lakers are moving away from him. That's why the Lakers did not offer him an extension. So, you know, I don't know. I got to push back on that also.
Him since he was probably 8? Like, when was the last time people didn't want LeBron on their team? Like, your entire identity in life is seeing the other side. So I don't know if he is going to sort of really be able to process the reality of the Lakers not wanting him back. I don't know if he's so determined to play somewhere that he would be willing to do kind of what Chris Paul has done, which is leave his family in LA and go play around the country. There's the Cleveland question, but Cleveland's not so easy to get him there with salaries and other things either.
Right now.
Exactly. So I think part of whether he wants to be appointed to the All-Star team, and we don't know for sure yet, by the way, that's how it would go down, would kind of depend on if he has reached a decision that this is his last run. If it's his last run, I think you take it the same way Michael Jordan did for his last All-Star game. You take the special appointment, you go have your bows, you let everyone fete you at All-Star weekend.
In this circumstance, who's the Vince Carter to MJ? Who gives LeBron the starting spot?
Well, I don't know in this case, because of the format, no one may have to.
Yeah, that's true. Don't you have to start the?
All right, so let me just say this, man. I think that LeBron James, I would be very surprised if LeBron James took this opportunity, the All-Star weekend, to announce he's going to go on a retirement tour. I'd be very surprised. Like I said, I think that he's afraid of losing the leverage that he has with playing in the NBA. It gives him leverage, over the narrative that people can put out about him. It gives him leverage. Then on top of that, it gives him leverage as far as clutch management is concerned, right? And so people sign with LeBron. They sign with clutch management because LeBron James is in the league. But once he leaves the league, then the leverage kind of goes away. I also think that, that'd be cool though if LeBron James say, all right, man, you know what? This is it. I'm going to hang it up. I'm not playing nowhere else next year. I'd be surprised if he do that. I think that would be the right thing for him to do. Just go ahead and go out with style. And the more that I think about it, maybe LeBron James will surprise people and and say, all right, I'm just gonna go ahead and pack it up and then, do a retirement tour. I think he should do that. But if he go to Cleveland or if he try to go somewhere else and play, man, then I know that LeBron James probably is more behind the story of why LeBron James feel like he need to play. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video. Peace.